everybody, I'm Natalia Bonner. Happy Thursday. Okay, so everybody, hopefully you all saw the video I shared a couple of days ago. Just kind of a little bonus video. I'm going to continue to share a few of these throughout the next little while, just really to try to bring a little bit of joy to you guys. So what are these little bonus videos that I'm sharing? Well, throughout this stitch along, if you haven't followed it yet, or if you haven't seen my stitch along, make sure to check it out. Every single day for 365 days, so a whole entire year, I have been sharing, it's called Let's Stitch a Block a Day. So I'm teaching you step by step how to machine quilt 365 different designs using my machine quilting rulers. So my whole entire goal with that was really to educate everybody, or as many of you as I can, and share my love of machine quilting rulers with all of you. I love machine quilting with rulers. I think that even if you are a beginner quilter, there's something about working with those rulers that, as long as, there is a little bit of a learning curve, but once you get that learning curve down, you can create such precise work, and it really helps you gain control of your machine. It helps you learn, so much about machine quilting by working with rulers. So they're really, truly a tool that can help you in your own machine quilting journey. So all of these blocks have been so much fun, but they've been more on the loose side of quilting is what I'm going to call it, because if you've seen any of my other work, you know that I love super heavy machine quilting. It's just something that's always brought me joy. No, it's not the right thing for every single quilt to quilt them really heavy, but it's something that I like to do on a lot of the quilts that I quilt. So with these 3 blocks that I'm going to be sharing with you today, I'm going to share, of course, the original design, how I stitched it out, the foundation, but then I'm showing you how to dress it up just a little bit. So I'm taking 3 of those ruler work designs and just adding something extra with a little bit of free motion, a little bit of extra to really, hopefully, inspire you on your own machine quilting journey. So I am still stitching these on the panels. That's where all of my designs for this whole stitch along have been stitched, on these panels. But if you want to stitch along and join me, you don't have to stitch these on panels. You can stitch them on whatever you want. If you're like me, we're all stuck at home. So you might as well use this time to work on some of your machine quilting skills, or hopefully these videos really can just bring you a little bit of extra joy, something to inspire you every day or today on your machine quilting journey. So the 3 blocks that we're going to be working on today, they are all triangle blocks. I thought it'd be fun. The other day I shared with you some square blocks, and I thought it'd be fun to mix it up and today share some triangles. So the first block that I'm going to share with you is the tree. So the tree originally was really straight, super cute, but as you can see here, I'm dressing it up just a little bit. Obviously this is quilted here on a full triangle quilt block. This, though, is a design. A lot of times I see like figurative type blocks, things like that, where I want to add maybe like applique. So maybe there's a tree appliqued on a quilt, and I want to quilt on that applique. This is a design that you could totally quilt on a tree applique or even a peace tree and really dress it up just a little bit. The next design that I'm going to be sharing with you is the bananas block. So this another fun design using some curves on your machine quilting ruler, again on a triangle block, but then I'm going to show you how to add just a little bit of extra detail down at the bottom of that block. Okay, and the final block that I'm going to share with you today is a fun version of the grid block on a triangle. So I am going to show you how to do this design here using rulers and free motion quilting. I didn't do any measuring or marking on this. I'm just using the markings on my machine quilting rulers. However, if you want it to be a little bit more precise, your lines to line up right in the top, you could totally mark out these designs. Just because I don't do a ton of marking, it doesn't mean that you have to do things exactly like I do. Guys, when it comes to machine quilting, there are no rules. Does it bring you joy? Do you like your result? Okay, there's your rules. If it makes you happy, that's your rules. So I'm showing you here with rulers and then free motion, but you could also use the mini 4-in-1 machine quilting ruler to stitch these point-to-point curves that I'm going to show you, and they would be even more precise. You don't have to worry about trying to do it free motion. So, like I said, I hope it brings a little bit of joy to your day, but in the meantime, let's get stitching. I'll start out by using my mini 4-in-1 machine quilting ruler and stitching in the ditch all the way around the outside of my quilt block. Now, this is a design where you could go through and add some markings. However, I sometimes like to just wing it and eyeball it. I sometimes feel like I'm a little bit more creative when I do that. So when I get back to that center bottom point, I'm going to stitch a straight line up, moving up about 1 inch. From there, I'm going to stitch an angular line over towards the right side of the block. When I get out about 1 inch, then I'm going to just stitch a fun little kind of crazy circle on the end of that circle. Once I complete that circle, then I'll stitch along my previous stitch line back to where I started. From there, I'm going to repeat this process on the opposite side of that straight line. After I repeated it on the opposite side, then I'm going to continue on stitching straight lines up, straight lines out with circles on the ends. When I get all the way to the top of the block, I'll add one more at the top and then stitch right back along that line, back down to that bottom point. I'll start out by using my 4-in-1 machine quilting ruler and stitching in the ditch all the way around the outside of my triangle quilt block. When I get back to that point where I started, I'm going to adjust the largest curve on the 4-in-1 machine quilting ruler and stitch point to point curves. So from the lower right up to that top point. When I get to the top point, I'll travel down the ditch along the left side of the block, moving down 1 inch. Now from that point, I'll stitch back down to that bottom left corner. I'm going to repeat that, making a total of 3 of those lines, curving down from that bottom corner and moving out 1 inch every time. Now, if you don't want to measure or mark 1 inch, I actually just lined it up. Mine's maybe closer to about 3/4 of an inch. I'm lining it up so that the second marked curved line on my machine quilting ruler is right on top of the previous line. After I've stitched 3 of those, then I'll travel back down to the bottom of the block where I'm going to fill in that bottom section with some fun, simple loops. Loops are a great way to add a little bit of texture and fill in, just add a little bit of something extra to your machine quilting. I'll start out by using my 4-in-1 machine quilting ruler and stitching in the ditch all the way around the outside of my triangle quilt block. When I get back to that point where I started, then I'm going to travel up the ditch on the side of my block, moving up 1 inch. You can see here I have not added any extra markings. I'm just lining it up so that the third marked line on my 4-in-1 machine quilting ruler, which has the 1 inch marking on it, is right on top of my previous stitch line. I'll travel across the block, stitch the next line, again, keeping my spacing 1 inch apart. I'll repeat that process until I've moved all the way to the top of my block. Once I've stitched all the way to the top of my block, now I'm going to come back down to the bottom, adjust my ruler, and repeat that same process, stitching lines now this time that go vertically every 1 inch. So again, I'm just using those markings on the 4-in-1 machine quilting ruler. I didn't go through and add any extra markings. Now you will notice at the top, my center line, well, there isn't a center line. It doesn't line right up with the top. I am okay with that. But if that's something that's going to bother you, totally go ahead and mark these 1 inch grid out before you do any quilting. Once I get back to the bottom, I have my whole grid stitched out. Now I'm going to go through along that grid and add some point-to-point curves. As you can see here, I am stitching these out completely freehand. Now also pay attention to the path that I'm following. The path that I'm following, if you stitch it out in that same manner, you'll never have to worry about stitching over your same stitch line or getting yourself stuck anywhere. I'm always thinking about leaving myself an out. If you don't want to quilt these out free motion, if you feel like you need a ruler, my new mini 4-in-1 machine quilting ruler is the perfect size to help you stitch those small curves on small spaces like these little 1 inch blocks. I'll continue stitching those little point-to-point curves all the way around until I have that quilt block completely quilted. I hope you all found a little bit of inspiration from this fun video today and it brought just maybe a second of joy into your lives. Have a great day, everybody.